Now then, let's take a much closer look at PhD's Autumn Gamma Vest. Now, an insulated vest is a smart way at saving weight. It's just focusing on core body temperature. Remove the sleeves and you've dumped quite a bit of weight. So this is a piece of equipment particularly of interest to racers, lightweight marathon racers, mountain marathon racers, and ultra lightweight backpackers and trekkers. Those sorts of situations where you really are looking for maximum potential warmth from minimum weight. You're really looking at every gram of equipment that you choose for your trip. So a vest is worth it looking at. Now, the Gamma vest and the Gamma jacket are PhD's super lightweight synthetic filled insulation pieces, and synthetic filled because they're designed to deal with cool and persistently damp conditions where wetness is a real threat to you, where you wouldn't normally take a down jacket because there's potential for it to get wet through and not be as insulated as you'd hoped. But synthetic equipment can deal very well with wet conditions, so that's the purpose of the vest. That's the purpose of the vest. Now, let's have a close look at it. First of all, the Autumn Gamma vest is constructed in Ultrashell as the outer fabric. Ultrashell is a proofed fabric. It's PhD's proofed fabric. We use it a great deal on our sleeping bags, particularly expedition sleeping bags where condensation or hoarfrost in a tent can cause trouble on a sleeping bag. So Ultrashell is a proofed fabric. It's got two proofings on it. It's got a sprayed on DWR coating on the outside. That's what creates that beading when water goes on the fabric. But on the underside, you've got a permanent sprayed on waterproof and breathable coating applied to it. That's fantastic. It can't be rubbed off, so it really does elevate the performance of that fabric in wet conditions like we've got today. It's windy and there's a bit of persistent drizzle around. Right, so we've got Ultrashell on the outer. We've got 7X, our 7 denier fabric on the inner, a very lightweight, windproof, downproof, Primaloft proof fabric on the inner. And for the wadding, the synthetic wadding is our Primaloft Gold. Now, Primaloft Gold is the top end of the quality of Primaloft, and it's particularly good at repelling water. It's all very well creating equipment with synthetic wadding, but if that wadding mops up water like a sponge, you're losing, the water's replacing the air in all those little spaces in the wadding, and you're losing insulation, so you're getting less warmth potentially from the gear. So a synthetic wadding that really repels the water is very, very useful. So we've used Primaloft Gold, and in this case we've used 60 gram Primaloft. Now 60 gram means it's the weight of 1 square metre. We carry 60 gram, 100 gram, 133 gram, 200 gram and so on. The heavier it is per square metre, the thicker it is and the more insulation you're gaining. This very lightweight piece is designed with 60 gram. What you've got in effect is a windproof garment. Obviously it's not without sleeves, it's not that effective at wind protection, but it's windproofing your core body. So you've got windproof fabrics on the outer and the inner, and synthetic wadding to deal with wet conditions. So a very, very lightweight piece. Now let's just have a look at the design of it, because we've designed this specifically for as light as we possibly can. It's got a full length zip down the front, number 3 YKK zip, a coil zip. That's a very lightweight piece of equipment. Behind it we've got a draft tube, an insulated draft tube to prevent cold air coming through, and at the top there we have a rollover beard guard. The bottom of the vest, we've got lycra edging to cinch it in to stop cold air coming up. We've got lightweight lycra around the armholes to effectively pull those in, and we've got an insulated collar, a high collar around the top to reduce cold air getting in. And then we've got 2 hand warmer pockets down at waist level, lightweight zips on them again. And these are hand warmer pockets. What I mean by that is when you put your hands inside them, your hand goes under the insulation. In fact, it goes, I can show you, it goes in, there's the pocket bag there, look, there's my hand there. So the pocket bag goes onto the inner. and it's going underneath the wadding. And what that means is that that pocket is very effective if you've got cold hands. So if your gloves aren't cutting it, or if they're wet through and you need extra warmth around your hands, those pockets are specifically designed to be a place where you can get an advantage, a windproof and warm place to get your hands warmed up again. They've got lightweight zips on, of course, so that if you've got any gear stashed in there, it doesn't drop out. One other thing to tell you about the construction is the way the Primaloft is handled. It's edge stitched, so it's stitched into the side seams and to the seam along the zip there, and that's to get maximum loft from the wadding. We haven't quilted it, we haven't made it look like a down jacket or done some sort of fashion design of quilting and stitching. That just nips the wadding and loses you depth of loft, so loses you insulation. And the whole point of this piece of equipment is to get the maximum warmth out of the minimum weight. So we've edge stitched it, we've used very lightweight fabrics as well, and that really encourages the Primaloft to give you the maximum warmth you can possibly get. Now then, one other thing to tell you about is the optional hood. We have a hood that's available as an option when you order online, and it's a stud-on hood. It studs on around a collar stand around the top there. But this hood is insulated. It's got a lycra facing to just cinch it in around the front there. It's got 2 studs to close it down around the chin. Now, this hood is insulated with Primaloft again, and the whole thing is windproof. That's why it's so effective. A very warm hood completely cuts out the wind around your head, so it becomes a very, very effective piece of insulation. I'd say that's particularly of interest. Not everyone wants a hood, but I'd say that's particularly of interest if you're camping, when you cool down a great deal in camp in the evening, but also if you're sleeping with a shoulder length system. So if you've got a quilt which is only shoulder length, then having a hood, or a very lightweight of warm hood attached to your vest or jacket, is a great piece of kit. Okay, so that's a close look at PhD's autumn version of the Gamma vest. All right, cheers.